What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your Raw review. Before I get to the Raw review, let me just say, I love all of you. You guys are fucking insane. I put the question up for the November Q&A, and the response I've gotten in one day is phenomenal. I said, sort of in jest, there's no limit on how many questions you guys can send me. In fact, I dare somebody, if you want to send me 100 questions, go ahead and do it. And I'm going to forget the numbers at the end of your name, but Purple took me up on the challenge and actually sent me 100 questions. That's fucking insane. Guys, go back one video. If you have questions that you want to ask me for my Q&A, keep in mind, please check to make sure the question hasn't been asked already. Please check to make sure your question does not pertain to something that's going to happen before the Q&A happens. The Q&A will happen in November. But go back one video, leave your questions in the comment section below. That's where I will be getting my questions for the November Q&A. Thanks a lot. The response has been phenomenal. You guys are all fucking amazing. Raw was amazing. And I've already seen people popping up saying that they thought it was shit and whatever. There were some low points to this Raw, and I'm going to get to those low points when we get to them, but overall, guys, this was a fun Raw. This was a really, really fun Raw, and the ones out there, I'm sorry, I respect a lot of you, but the ones that are saying nothing's progressing, this and that, da-da-da-da-da, you're wrong. I mean, what else can I say? Start off with Punk, and as he's coming down to the ring, the announcers announce that it is his 316th day as champion. 316. Who didn't know that this was going to turn into something eventually? But Punk comes down, talks about last week, talks about how Cena needs to use a pipe because he's a scared man, talks about how he gets disrespected by Foley. Foley would never dare disrespect Cena or disrespect The Rock or disrespect Austin or anything like that, but he absolutely goes out of his way to disrespect me, and I'm here to reiterate, Punk Cena will not happen at Hell in the Cell. Heyman says we're going to move on to our next piece of business, shows the video of his absolutely grotesque proposal to AJ last week and him getting slapped, etc. Then with the typical Paul Heyman smirk, he happens to mention, you know, well, she never really said no. Then he talks about how she violated the board, the WWE Board of Directors' directive to her that she cannot have any physical contact with any superstars, with any managers, whoever, and she must be removed, she must be replaced, and she must be replaced by me, Paul Heyman. He's then interrupted by Vicky Guerrero, and I'm thinking, okay, now the ball is rolling. Vic comes out here and says, I'm the original victim of AJ. Dolph almost lost his money in the bank. AJ Lee attacked me unnecessarily. I should be the new GM. Vicky and Heyman argue for a little bit, which is fucking hysterical. Dolph Ziggler kind of brings it all together and suggests that Vicky and Heyman co-GM Raw, an idea that I'm sure makes a lot of people groan, puts a big heel smile on this face. Oh yes. AJ comes out, talks about how creepy and old and weird Paul Heyman is, talks about how the board of directors has put her on probation, and they've even hired her an executive coach to help her be a better general manager. Brian interrupts her, says, I'm here to apologize to everybody. AJ's nuts because I dumped her. Don't you know, I'm a hell of a catch and I'm one half of the tag team champions. Kane comes down, interrupts Daniel Bryan, says, well, we're all forgetting one very important fact, and that is that AJ's a hell of a kisser. And I am the tag team champions. So we get a big tirade of, I am the tag team champions. No, I am the tag team champions. No, I'm the best in the world. No, I'm the show off. No, excuse me. And it's finally cut off by AJ, who has a mini mental breakdown in the ring. Says, this is still my show. We're going to have Ziggler and Punk versus Team Hell No as the main event tonight. Channeling her inner, Teddy Long, making a tag team match playa for the end of the show. We proceed with the tag team tournament that was announced on SmackDown. We're still in round one. We have Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio versus Epico and Primo. The most awesome thing about this is Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio finally have their gear sorted out. They're in matching colors, etc. And each one of their masks is half and half Rey Mysterio, half and half Sin Cara, which is kind of cool. The match was fast as hell. If I try to tell you what happened in the match, I'd be here all week. We see the primetime players watching from the ramp because if they win their first match, they're going to win. They're going to face the winners of this match. A double 619 and a splash by Ray gets the win for Ray and Sin Cara. Who didn't think that these guys were going to advance in the tournament? Oh, yes. Now it's announced that Sheamus and the Big Show... Okay, here's where we hit a little bit of a slump. Sheamus and the Big Show are going to have a debate on Raw about the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So if you want your questions asked in the debate, the Raw active thing for tonight is send in your questions, hashtag Sheamus Show, for later on tonight. Antonio Cesaro versus Brodus Clay, which was fun for me. It was nice, it was short, it did its thing. I'm kind of buying into the Antonio Cesaro a bit, just a bit. He's a great guy. He didn't need Oksana as much as Oksana's hot and she's great arm candy and she's great eye candy, etc. He didn't really need her. He's going out there, he's doing his thing. He's in there with Clay, and when Clay started off dominating him just because he's the bigger guy, I was like, fuck, it's another Clay squash match. But Clay owns until Antonio Cesaro hangs him in the ropes, hits a springboard uppercut, which was awkward, but at the same time very, very nice looking, and then manages to hit the neutralizer on Brodus Clay. And I don't care that Brodus Clay is a goofball, he's still a heavy fucker. So the fact that Antonio Cesaro was able to do that was indeed impressive. And it was a little moment in his US title run. No problem with that whatsoever. In the back, AJ introduces her executive coach to Caitlyn and then offers her a fake apology for all the bad treatment she gave her way back when they were both on SmackDown, laughs her ass off and leaves, and Caitlyn doesn't really do anything for the rest of the night, which is sad because I could always use more Caitlyn. Ryder versus The Miz. Oh yes, to prove that the one fluke match against Ryback is not going to hold down my boy The Miz. Oh no. We have a nice Ryder dropkick to start off the match, but then Miz proceeds to beat the fuck out of Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder does manage to come back with the broski boot, goes for the Rough Rider, which is countered into a sweet turnbuckle powerbomb, skull-crushing finale, and Miz is your winner. Awesome. Moving on. We have the debate, and I didn't write down all the details from the debate because the debate was lame. Booker T comes down, Big Show comes down, Sheamus comes down. Show says that the debate is stupid, he's going to be the next world champion, everybody knows it, and he's going to rip Sheamus' leg off. Sheamus responds with, please don't take my leg, I'm going to need it to kick your ass. We have a bunch of Twitter questions, we have a bunch of lame-ass Sheamus comedy where he really starts talking bullshit with numbers, and Daniel Bryan beat you in 45 seconds and I beat him in 18 seconds and da-da-da-da-da. Big Show tries to look scary and not so much like a goof and then walks off. Tensai versus Ryback. When was the last time we said we could have fun with a Tensai match? And I'm not giving the credit to Tensai, trust me. But this whole Ryback versus Tensai thing, this whole, big guy versus big guy, Battle of the Bulls type things, it's cool. And it's cool that they're showing Ryback struggle a little bit because Tensai is a big guy in his own right. He's not the Big Show. He's not the Great Khali. But for the pseudo-semi-regular sized guys, Tensai is a big guy. So the fact that Ryback failed twice to hit the shell shock and then ended up winning the match with the meat hook clothesline, which is a really weird name for a clothesline, but I'll go with it because that's what they're doing. Ryback wins the match. But I like that they're not treating him like Superman anymore. He still looks dominant as fuck, but the fact that he's not completely invincible shows growth, and it's not the last time we see Ryback tonight, so whatever. Eve versus Beth Phoenix. Beth beats down Eve in the corner for a while until Eve ducks and Beth eats the post to her shoulder. Eve takes control on the outside. Inverted atomic drop and a clothesline by Beth, but Eve counters into the neckbreaker for a quick win in a quick match, but it still wasn't bad. It was enough to let Beth be in there and be dominant and show how strong she is, and it's great to show Eve and her diversity and why she's the Divas champion. It wasn't bad for a Divas match. It wasn't, oh my god, we're never going to get Trish versus Lita again, but this for these days, it wasn't a bad Divas match. I have to say by these days, but whatever. In the back, AJ's still walking around with her executive coach, whose name I didn't bother to write down because I doubt he'll be back next week. But Wade Barrett takes the opportunity because AJ is on probation and can't really do anything to him that's questionable. He takes the time to tell her that she's doing a horrible job and she lets her personal life get in the way of doing her job. And if she was any kind of GM, he would have a match tonight, and then the segment just kind of falls flat after that. They show clips from JBL and his 7 summits for kids charity stuff that he's doing, which is phenomenal. They showed a tout from him from the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. I know people, you know, bitch about the tout stuff. I mean, they use it like 2 or 3 times a night over the course of a 3-hour show, so get the hell over it. And a tout from the top of Kilimanjaro was kind of cool, and it's kind of cool to see the charity shit that JBL does. It's kind of cool that WWE is acknowledging somebody doing charity other than John Cena. Just putting it out there. And they announced that JBL, after coming down from Mount Kilimanjaro, is in fact going to be back for Raw next week. So JBL, recently, very, very busy guy. We have Slater versus Santino, which is a nothing match, but it was entertaining to me because nobody was focused on the match. Everybody was focused on the guys outside, and the guys outside were Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal because of this whole group that they have going on with Slater. The commentators are talking about the group and where the group is going, where the group came from. Nobody's paying attention to the match, which is about what Santino deserves. The group is called Encore, apparently, and Slater's calling himself the one-man band while he makes himself a group. So that's interesting. We have some Cobra bullshit, and Santino shouldn't win with the Cobra, so we get a 3-on-1 beatdown instead. Slater grabs a mic. They all kind of say their nicknames. You know, Drew McIntyre is still the chosen one. Jinder Mahal, I'm pretty sure this is in English, so somebody tell me if I'm pronouncing this correctly. But Jinder Mahal is the Maharaja. I really don't know how to pronounce that. And Heath Slater is still the one-man band as he stands there with definitely more than one person. And then we have, and I'm going to say this, we have a long-ass, boring-as-fuck match between Flaming Mayo and Damian Sangoof. Oh yes, the only interesting person involved in this match was Cody Rhodes, and he was on commentary. This match went on forever, and I'm pretty sure Ashton was sitting there jizzing his pants, wrapping his whatever in whatever, and having a big old wank off because Sandow was on TV for more than 5 seconds, but the guy is still boring. His gimmick is still recycled, and he's still boring as fuck. And, you know, he's going up against Flaming Mayo, so, again, it's like when he went up against Brodus Clay. It's I don't give a fuck versus I don't give a fuck, and guess what? Ding, ding, ding! I don't give a fuck. We have Jim Ross Appreciation Night, and for once, you thought WWE was going to actually treat Jim Ross okay. Cole is the MC. He announces JR. He's about to say how great JR is when he is interrupted by Punk. Punk dismisses Cole back to the announce table. We have loud JR chants. He actually does, in the initial stages, pay a lot of respect to JR. I respect you. You're one of the greatest guys ever to commentate matches, etc. I deserve respect, and all these fans turned on me. So JR, you're going to tell them that I am the best in the world because they're your hometown people. Yeah, because they were in Oklahoma tonight, if I haven't already mentioned that. Anyways, JR says, all you've done in the past little while is do a great job of making a jackass of yourself. Punk's response is, I've come to show you respect and you can't show me any in return. If I chose to make this into a physical altercation, who's going to save you? Cena's not here, Austin's not here, not even your buddy Lawler is here. And I was like, with that, but whatever. And he's speaking of Austin, the numbers 316 used to belong to Austin. Now, because it's my 316th day of being champion, Austin doesn't own those numbers anymore. I do. You're going to tell them that I'm the best right now. JR goes into this big shoot, which was amazing to hear from Jim Ross. I won't say it. You can't make me say it. I've called WrestleMania matches with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Triple H, Undertaker, etc., and they all earned the right to be called the best in the world. They never asked for it, and if they did ask for it, I definitely would have given it to them because they earned it. Go to Hell in the Cell, beat Cena, and I will be the first person on here the following week to call you the best in the world. Instead, CM Punk takes his hat and stomps on it and says, I've beaten Cena over and over and over again. I've never run from anybody in my life, but you better run right now, and chases Jim Ross out of the ring, and Jim Ross goes to go back to his announce booth. He says, no, you can't do what you love in front of your hometown crowd. You're going to walk up that ramp and leave the arena, and remember that I'm the one that did it to you. Jim Ross gets halfway up the ramp when we hear Ryback's music once again. Ryback escorts Jim Ross back to the ring, and then back out of the ring again to go do commentary, stares down Punk, and in the first sort of moment in this entire thing, because this entire promo set was fucking phenomenal. Punk backs down to Ryback and leaves. Not a fan of that. I'm hoping Ryback gets his ass kicked in the long run. But whatever, it was effective for what it was. Jim Ross had somebody to stick up for him. I'm pretty sure if, John Cena wasn't all bashed up, it would have been him. And, we're just substituting one Superman for another while one's dealing with a bit of kryptonite in the form of an elbow. Moving on, Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston was not really anything special, but we showed a WWE.com exclusive video from after SmackDown cameras went off the air of Alberto Del Rio owning the living hell out of Randy Orton. My assumption is that they're going to fight at Hell in the Cell, whether it be in a Hell in the Cell match or not, but whatever. Ricardo Rodriguez is on commentary, speaking English. Okay. They spar back and forth, and they trade punches and kicks, etc. Alberto Del Rio finally gets an abdominal stretch on Kofi Kingston, which is interesting because not only does he have him in the abdominal stretch, he's also sitting there with a big grin on his face, digging his knuckles into his ribs. I thought that was a really, really nice spot. Kofi hits many, many, many high-flying kicks and elbows and shots and whatever and whatever. The Trouble in Paradise fails. Alberto Del Rio owns him in the corner for a bit. Eventually there's a cross arm breaker, and surprise, surprise, my boy Alberto Del Rio gets the win. Oh, yes! It's a good night tonight. Then we have Team Hell No versus Punk and Ziggler, with, surprise, surprise, AJ as the ref. Ziggler and Kane begin a failed... Wow, I can't read my own writing. Dolph Ziggler fails at the zigzag early. Kane dumps Ziggler to the outside. Ziggler rides a sleeper once they get back in the ring on Kane for quite a bit of time. Hits a great dropkick on him. Kane and Daniel Bryan double team Ziggler for a couple of moments in the corner. Ziggler, as usual, hits... Or, no, it wasn't a dropkick. It was a sweet jumping DDT on Kane, who's not the shortest guy in the world, so that's nice. Punk gets tagged in and hits a pair of running knees on Kane. Clothesline by Kane takes out Punk. Bryan tags in, and we get exquisite Bryan versus Punk square off like we always do. Punk overcomes that little bit of the match with a kick to Bryan's head. Ziggler then tags in and hits a nice drop kick on Bryan. There's the drop kick I was looking for a couple minutes ago. Bryan eats Garvale on the outside by Ziggler twice. Top rope suplex and a no lock by Bryan on Punk. I swear, guys, my rating is shit. It's like midnight. Whatever, leave me alone. AJ ejects Heyman and Vicky. Ziggler leaves with Vicky. Punk eats a choke slam because he has no partner to help him out. And Team Hell No win. Why do I like this match even though two of my guys lost? The tag team champions should be winning tag team matches. I may not agree with who the tag team champions are, but the tag team champions should win tag team matches against guys that are definitively singles guys. Also, it doesn't hurt my feelings that Punk ate the pin after he was deserted, because at that point it was a 2-on-1 match, so losing doesn't hurt him as much. There were so many stories, produced or progressed in this. Heyman AJ, Punk AJ, Vicky AJ, Punk Bryan, Ziggler Bryan, I guess, Bryan and Kane, obviously, Kane and AJ, every single Dolph and AJ, everything, every single person in that match has multiple connections to each other, and it was a great match. Like, okay, me just sort of blandly reading out what happened doesn't really bring to the forefront the fact that it was a fucking amazing match. For a tag team match, let's face it, even though two of them are tag team champions, 4 singles guys having a tag team match on Raw, not a pay-per-view, not anything like that. Fantastic match all the way around. And, AJ and, the additions of AJ and Vicky and Heyman and all that sort of thing just make things better. Score fail and MVP. The whole opener was win. Like, the amount of people you had arguing in that ring before the main event was actually announced was amazing. I like the half-and-half masks that Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio are doing, each one of them taking on the other's, personality a little bit to show that they are more of a team. I like it. It's symbolism and it's simple. It's simple and it's visual, and you just look at it and you know exactly what they're doing. It's great. Antonio wins and hits the neutralizer on Clay. Like I say, we're used to these big feats of strength by guys that are giants. We're used to guys The last one that did the huge, feats of strength or whatever was, I think, Ezekiel Jackson when he was, like, doing all those slams on the Big Show. Antonio Cesaro's, a pretty well put together guy, but he's no giant, he's no monster. He's a guy. He's a human being, let's just say. And when a human being type character pulls off the feats of strength, it's a little more impressive because you almost expect the monsters to do it, if that makes any sense. JBL's coming back next week. Awesome. Great to see him on commentary. He is the quintessential heel color commentator, and he lets Michael Cole do what Michael Cole needs to do. Also, the charity work that he's doing, the 7 Summits stuff, Kilimanjaro, and all that sort of thing. Phenomenal stuff. Give him all the credit in the world for that. Now, CM Punk is a great promo guy, so it's really surprising that I would be giving credit to somebody that was cutting promo on Punk, but oh indeed, that goes to Jim Ross tonight. Jim Ross's, semi-shoot promo that he did on Punk was phenomenal. Short, sweet, and to the point. It didn't drag, but it was phenomenal. Now, fail, and these are mostly nitpicks at this point. My one fail is Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara. Not that I have anything wrong with the team. I think they're actually doing phenomenal. We've got 2 thrown together teams that already have names in the Rhodes Scholars, which makes my stomach turn a little bit, and Team Hell No. But the one team that's actually going out there, doing their thing, and actually looking like a team, doesn't have a team name yet. That's a little tiny thing. I told you, all these fails are going to be like little nitpicks, but I would really love it if Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio had a tag team name, because they're the ones I can actually see progressing forward as a tag team. The Raw Active, you guys know I'm sort of hit and miss on the Raw Active. Some of them are great, some of them are absolutely horrible. Now, why did the Raw Active question, I know it's a super show, so all you guys are, well, it's a super show. Anyways, but why did the Raw Active tonight have to do with 2 SmackDown guys that are fighting over a SmackDown title in the SmackDown main event of Hell in the Cell? Like, they should have done this on SmackDown. I mean, it was still a shit segment, but, I'm sure they thought it was going to be good. The Sheamus and Show debate in general was lame. Sheamus and Sandow bored the fuck out of me, and it took up a lot of my time. Just, watch the Sheamus and Sandow match, or sit here and get my teeth drilled with no drugs. I will take the drilling. Just saying. The Fave 5. Punk lost, but he lost after his partner bailed, so it's not that much of a loss, is it? Miz won his match. Can't say anything more about it. Ziggler, of his own volition, of his own choice, walked out of the match and kind of screwed over Punk a little bit, but them's the breaks. Rhodes was on the show, but not in a match, so he ate a brogue kick from Sheamus at some point in that boring-ass match with Sandow. Not the best night for him. Orton wasn't even on the show, I guess, trying to sell the beatdown he got from Alberto Del Rio on SmackDown, which is fine by me. And because they progressed in the tag team tournament tonight in, I don't know, I'm going to be corny, they progressed in the championship tournament in championship fashion. My MVPs of the night are going to be Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio, surprisingly enough. I don't think they've ever been on the MVP list before, so that's that. And really, who doesn't think they're going to win this tournament? Unless they get screwed over by the primetime players at some point. Really, who out there does not think that Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara are going to win this tournament? Anybody. Anybody that thinks that, teams that I think should win, like the Usos, who are already out, like Kid and Gabriel, who have never really been given a shot, like the Ascension, who's not even in the tournament, but, Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara are going to win this tournament. I'm saying it, and I'm saying it from now until Hell in the Cell. But yeah, guys, like I say, there was a lot of slump, and most of the slump in this show had to do with Sheamus and the Big Slow, so take those guys out. Oh, and Sandow. Take those 3 out of the show. Fucking amazing show. Entertained the hell out of me. A lot of funny stuff. A lot of great promo work tonight. So to everybody out there that says there was no progression tonight, did you not turn your TV on? Was your TV maybe unplugged? Were you on the wrong channel? Were you watching football instead? I really don't know what to tell you, other than I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Let me know what you thought of Raw. Go back one video, add questions to my Q&A, and I will talk to each and every last one of you later. Bye, guys.